Hey guys, how's it going? It's Brax Unmasked, and I am here today to talk to you about the One Piece live-action Season 2 show on Netflix. Before I go too deep into it, I just want to say that I was very pleased by the season. I think it's improved upon the first season a lot. The first season, I thought there were a lot of small issues, but it was still a lot of fun. I think the biggest issues I had with the first season were the VFX were not that great, and everything just kind of felt sillier because of it. Now, I know One Piece is a silly show, so that's not exactly a bad thing, but I think they definitely improved upon that and made the whole thing look a lot more realistic this time around. So episode 1 of season 2 is called, I think, The Beginning and the End. It is covering Loguetown. And they did a great job with this one. The very beginning of it kind of reminded me of season 1, just like the cinematography and everything. It had a vibe very similar to season 1. And honestly, that made me kind of sad. I was like, oh, this is going to be just kind of like the same thing. But as things moved forward, it started becoming more of its own thing. So I will say I don't remember a lot of this part of the anime just because it was so early on. And it's been several years since I've seen that part of the anime. From what I do remember, it covers it pretty well. There were definitely some new things in it that I wasn't aware of. I will say I'm going to be spoiling a few things. If you've not seen the anime yet, if you've not read the manga yet, then you might want to skip this video if you don't want to have stuff spoiled for you. But yeah, this one starts off with the crew on the Mary trying to decide what they're going to do next. Basically everybody except Usopp wants to go to Loguetown. Usopp not wanting to go because he's a bit of a coward, as usual. Luffy's not sure what to do until he learns that this is where Goldie Roger started his journey and where his life and journey ended. Once he hears that, he's like, alright, that's where we're going, and that's where they end up heading off to. They get to Loguetown, they're having a grand old time shopping around. They kind of split up from each other in this. I think Sanji and Luffy go one way, Nami goes one way, Zoro goes one way. I forget what Usopp does. Usopp goes with Nami, that's what happened, yeah. So Luffy and Sanji go off to look for food. Sanji's having a good time looking at all the cool food in the area. And then Luffy gets distracted the second Sanji walks 3 feet away from him, which is perfect for his character. So Luffy walks away, and then he bumps into somebody that I would not expect to be seeing this early on to the show, which was Bartolomeo. And he comes in a lot later in the series, in the manga and the anime. I think he comes in around Dressrosa, so it was kind of weird to see him. Though I looked it up, and I think he does start becoming a Luffy fanboy after he sees him from afar in Loguetown, so I guess it does make sense to have him there. But yeah, Luffy goes off with him, and I think he's planning on robbing Luffy or something, but then they both run into Buggy the Clown, one of my favorite characters, and it was great to see Buggy again. He's just awesome. The actor does such a great job in that role. And the character is so much fun, and you just know how far he's going to go later in the show, so it's nice to know that we'll see him again and again and again and again. I'm so glad to see that actor just keep portraying him in this role. It's so fun. But yeah, Luffy gets in trouble with him, shenanigans ensue. Zoro goes off looking for swords. He runs into Toshigi, thinking that she looks a lot like Kuina, his childhood friend. But yeah, Zoro goes, he finds his cursed sword, and then he gets another one for free. Buggy runs kind of like a kangaroo court style case for Luffy, where it's he has no chance of getting out of there. He says that he's guilty, and then he brings him up to the executioner's platform where Roger lost his life 20-something years ago, I think. And Buggy is about to cut off Luffy's head, when out of nowhere he is shocked. The platform just kind of explodes into the air. And we actually get a little bit of a glimpse at Dragon, which I was not expecting this early into the series. I know in the anime, I'm not sure about the manga, but I know in the anime you get a little look at him. But I don't remember getting a look at him and hearing his voice and seeing his face and everything that clearly, which was pretty cool. And then after that, they just kind of run into Smoker and eventually get away from him. I think again with a little bit of help from Dragon. And that's the end of the first episode. Second episode is Good Whale Hunting. It starts off with the crew going towards Reverse Mountain, and they see it from afar, just kind of notice how weird it is that the current flows up In this part of the show, I really enjoyed the actors who are playing the Straw Hats all just have like this great chemistry, so it's a lot of fun seeing them together. They all look like they're just having a blast in their roles. And I like the way that they're all portraying these characters too. So they make it up Reverse Mountain. They're having some issues. There's this one scene that I thought was kind of iffy, where part of the ship breaks so they need to steer. I don't know ship terminology, so sorry. And Luffy uses his gum stretchy powers to stretch his arms out and grab onto like the cliff surfaces, and he moves the ship doing that. And I know that this is like possible for him, like he's super strong, but I think I remember in like the anime at least, he like wraps his legs around the bow of the ship, like so that he actually has like something to grip onto. Otherwise, I think that he'd just be like moving himself. I guess in this live action version, he's wearing some sneakers instead of his sandals. So maybe the grip of the sneakers is just like so good that he doesn't need to do that. I guess that's what we'll go with for now. But yeah, they make it up Reverse Mountain, and then they start going down into the Grand Line. Right before they do, this giant whale comes out of nowhere. This giant whale, of course, being Lagoon. And he just kind of swallows a ship whole. Luffy gets out with like a second to spare to try and figure out a way to save his crew from this Jonah-esque fate. I think he faints or something, and then he wakes up later, and we are introduced to Crocus. When we're introduced to Crocus, I was kind of like wondering what was going on, because I think in the anime at least he is inside of Laboon. Like he has a little island inside of there, but that's not the case in here. In this version, he's the lighthouse keeper just on the other side of Reverse Mountain, and he's living outside of Laboon, which I imagine is much better for his mental health, and it's probably nice to not have to smell the insides of a whale all day. Yeah, we learn a lot about Laboon's backstory, a little bit about Crocus' backstory. We get to see Brooke, which I was super excited for. Brooke is one of my favorite characters. My two favorites are Brooke and Frankie. So I was very ecstatic to see Brooke in this, and to be able to like hear a little bit of him singing already. It's just going to be so wonderful to have him in here. Of course, he's not like a Straw Hat yet. This is when he's still with the Rhubarb Pirates, I think they're called. But we actually get to see him singing to Laboon, and Laboon experiencing what it was like to be part of a pirate crew, kind of, which was really cool. Straw Hats, besides Luffy, that are stuck inside of Laboon, are trying to figure out how to get out, while Luffy's trying to figure out how to get them out from outside. They run into Vivi and Mr. Nine along the way. A short fight ensues, and they end up trapping them. After hearing all of the backstory, Luffy decides that the best thing he can do to try and get through to Laboon is to sing to him, which was just great. I don't remember what happens in the anime. I think what happens is that Luffy like kind of fights Laboon. But that doesn't happen here, which I was happy about. But Luffy actually just goes down and performs Binks' Brew or Binks' Sake for Laboon, and Laboon just loves hearing the song, and he's an honorary Straw Hat at the end of that and spits up the ship. It was a really nice episode. I wasn't expecting to see like so much of Brooke and Brooke's former crew. That was really cool, and I really enjoyed that. Third episode, the Straw Hats go to Whisky Peak, which is a town that is run by Baroque Works. Baroque Works being the criminal enterprise that Crocodile runs. I'll be honest, I don't remember much of this from the anime. The only thing I remember is like the super buff woman beating them up, and I was very excited that she was there. I was like, yeah! This episode was like heavily Zoro focused, which is always cool. I love seeing Zoro action sequences. But I do kind of wish we got to see like a little bit more of Sanji and Usopp. There are some cool scenes with them, like Usopp's throwing darts and just like hitting these insane dart shots, which is pretty cool. Sanji is just like hitting on these girls, and I know like in the anime and manga Sanji is like a simp, but in the show he's like a suave motherfucker. Like, I am surprised women are not constantly following Sanji around, to be honest. But again, this is a very Zoro heavy episode, and Zoro's doing this like cool 100 versus 1 battle, which is just like insane to see. The choreography was pretty cool. A lot of interesting shots. The Zoro actor just fills that role wonderfully. Like, that man is Zoro. But yeah, while Zoro's doing this, the other Straw Hats are just kind of like going about their business. Sanji and Usopp get captured by these women in the Baroque Works. Luffy's just kind of like eating food until he gets attacked by Vivi and her butler. I don't remember the guy's name. And then they try to run from Luffy, but he catches up to them. And then they are attacked by, I think it's Mr. Five and Mrs. Valentine or something, Miss Valentine. It's the lady that can like change her weight so she can like fly up with an umbrella and then come down with just an insane amount of weight. And then there's Mr. Five who like flicks his boogers or his blood and can make things explode with that. Just disgusting. But the guy did a great job, like the actor. The Mr. Five actor, he was doing a wonderful job. I mean, Miss Valentine was too, but like Mr. Five, he seemed like proud to be flicking those boogers. Pretty great. But anyways, that episode ends with the Straw Hats just kind of like finding out who Vivi is and deciding to help her along in her journey to get back to Alabasta. Next two episodes, 4 and 5, I think it's Big Trouble in Little Garden and Wax On, Wax Off, are just basically like the Little Garden arc, where these Straw Hats go and find that they're like in a prehistoric jungle. They see there's dinosaurs everywhere. They see that there are these giants who are not only giants, but giant pirates from Elbaf. Dory and Broggy, I think. And before I go on, I just want to say, like, Dory and Broggy looked amazing. We get to see them duel a couple times. And their duels, like, feel impactful. Like, they make them look like they're actual giants having this match. And it looks like they're giving it their all, and it looks like when they're swinging their swords, like just the wind from that could like shatter a ship. Unfortunately, the Straw Hats are not the only ones on this island. Mr. Five, Miss Valentine, Mr. Three, and I think her name is Miss Golden Week, the little girl that has like the paint, are all on the island as well. Shenanigans ensue with them. Miss Golden Week's paint can like hypnotize people. And I think she hypnotizes Nami, and Zoro kind of like takes them out of the game. Makes them easy to get captured. And then Mr. 3 captures Vivi, Nami, and Zoro. We get to see like he actually makes his giant wax wedding cake thing and is going to turn them into statues. I was not expecting them to like actually cover that. But they did a great job. They really made it look like the wax is coming down and they're slowly being covered by it, not just like it's dripping down on them, but like it looks like there's actual snow in the air and it's slowly solidifying on them and they're slowly getting engulfed in this. Which I was just kind of shocked to see that they would go that far to make it just accurate, which I was very happy about. So Nami, Vivi, Zoro are captured. They're being turned into wax statues. Luffy has been painted by Miss Golden Week, so he's kind of like out of commission as well. That leaves only two people, the two heroes of the arc, Usopp and Sanji. Now Sanji goes on to find Mr. Three's little wax abode, and he goes through, finds files on the Straw Hats, takes a call from the big man, Mr. Crocodile himself, and he takes out a couple of Baroque Works agents that come looking for it. I forget what their names are, but it's basically like a vulture and an otter. But he did a good job getting rid of them. And then there's Usopp, who is very afraid, but knows that he needs to do something because everyone else is counting on him. And he is just so goated at these episodes. He tries going for Luffy, he finds him, but he's not able to like do anything at first. He comes back for him later. I think it's him who comes back for him. And Luffy's about to like drown himself because Miss Golden Week told him to walk into the ocean where his powers are not workable anymore. I think it's Usopp who goes in and saves him. Then they rush into the forest again to find the wedding cake and find that Nami, Zoro, and Vivi are all almost fully engulfed in the wax. Like, they've got maybe like a minute or two of air left inside of the thing, and then they're just like goners. Mr. 3 rushes off into the forest, and Luffy takes after him. Usopp's just kind of like, what am I supposed to do? And Luffy's like, you'll figure it out. You won't let them die. And then Usopp has to do some quick thinking to make sure that these people, his friends, are not going to die. He knows that he really stands no chance. Like, if he's going against two people, if he's going against Miss Valentine and Mr. Five, he knows he has very little chance unless he is using his noggin on this one. So he challenges them to a duel. He's like, hey, the warriors of Elbaf are here. Let's fight with honor just like them. So Mr. Five's like, alright, I'm down. Which one of us do you want to challenge? And he challenges Miss Valentine, the lady again who can like soar into the sky with her umbrella, making herself like weigh only a couple ounces, and then she can come back down and make herself weigh like thousands of pounds. So Usopp challenges her, and he runs around, kind of like attacks her a couple times with a slingshot, not doing too much damage, but then he goes over to the wax statue, the giant cake, and he lets himself get caught by her. So he lets her come down on him, like on his face, and I think she does like 1 ton, which is like 2,000 pounds, just like hammering him right on the skull. And I think she does 5,000 and then like 10,000 pounds. So Usopp is just getting like crushed, demolished in this. But she doesn't understand the damage she's doing to him is also being done to the wax around him. And he is tricking her into breaking this giant wedding cake wax sculpture thing. So I think after 3 attacks, basically, like, it cracks the wax, and Nami, Vivi, and Zoro are free, and now these people are in trouble, because Nami and Vivi are good at, like, strategizing, and Zoro is scary no matter who you are. Luffy catches up to Mr. 3. There's some shenanigans with the giants. One of them gets, like, stabbed, and I think the other gets, like, covered in the wax. Luffy frees him, though. He takes out Mr. 3. Mr. 3 surrounds Luffy's fists with wax, and he just thinks Luffy's gonna be weighed down and stuck there, but Luffy like uses it to his advantage, uses some leverage, and swings his fist with this wax that's as hard as steel at Mr. 3 and just takes him out of commission. The episode ends with them saying goodbye to the Giants thanking them for their help, and the Giants are basically like, hey, you guys can sail out of here now. Just continue sailing straight. Don't worry about anything that's going to happen. We got it. Just keep going. So they're like, okay. And they set sail for a couple minutes. They look back. They're waving at the Giants. And then they're like, hey, something's swimming towards us. And this thing pops out of the ocean. It's like 12 times bigger than Laboon. It's a giant goldfish. And I am so happy that they kept this scene from the manga and the anime. I thought that some of these things were going to be skipped, but they got them in there and they kept them. And so you see this giant goldfish just pop out of nowhere. You're like, oh geez, that's like the size of a mountain. And then you see the Vikings and they wind up their move, just send this move rippling towards the goldfish. And then it's just like, the inside of this thing is just gone. You see like the flesh of the goldfish on the roof of it, and it's split down the middle, slowly like falling apart on both sides. And the Straw Hats are good to go to the next place they need to get to. Episodes 6, 7, and 8 focus on Nami getting sick and them realizing that they need to go somewhere else before they go to Alabasta to make sure she is okay, because they don't know if she would be able to survive the trip to Alabasta. They don't know how long it's going to take to get there. So they decide instead to find the next nearest island, which happens to be Drum Island. They get to Drum Island, try to go up to the village there, and the villagers are not wanting them there. They're not happy they're there because they see pirates. We learned that Blackbeard had been here before, and he was kind of like terrorizing the place with his crew. And before that, they also had King Wapple, who was like a tyrant. The Straw Hats get angry that the villagers won't let them in, but Vivi just kind of takes charge, and she's like, hey, let me handle this. She bows down, and she's like, please, we need your help. So the other Straw Hats follow in her lead, and the people of Drum Island, I don't know what the town's called, but the people welcome them in after that. But they get into the town, and I think the leader of the town's name is Dalton. He's like, hey, it's getting too late. At morning time, you can go around the mountain and start your way on up, and you should be able to get there within a day's journey. So they're like, okay. Then they go to an inn, and they realize that Nami is not going to make it through the night unless she gets help. She's in like awful shape. So Luffy and Sanji are like, alright, we're going to get her there now. Instead of going around the mountain, going up the easier way, we're going to climb straight up this mountain that's almost like a 90-degree angle straight up. They're like, we're gonna save Nami. We're gonna get her there today. So that's what they set out to do, and that part was also very loyal to the anime, at least. Like, they're going up the mountain, it's like this horribly difficult challenge. You see Sanji fall, and Luffy has to save him, and then he throws Sanji back up. He loses his footing at one point and falls. His fingers are just frozen, so his hands and his fingers are all like bloody after getting caught on the rocks. But eventually they make it on up, and then he gets to the top, sees someone up there, and he says, please protect my friends, like, help them, before he blacks out. And then they wake up, they're being treated, Nami's looking a lot better. I think her name is Dr. Karina, Chopper calls her Doctorine, is there. And she is helping them all get better, everyone's looking a lot better. We see Chopper for the first time, and he is adorable. The VFX crew is doing an amazing job in bringing these characters to life. And Luffy is instantly just smitten by Chopper. He wants to know everything there is to know. Nami kind of wants to know about him too. So Karina is telling them the story of Chopper, how he came to be in her care, what he went through before. So we learn all about Chopper's backstory with, I think it's Dr. Hiralek he's called. Just like the trauma that Chopper went through before that, not even being like a normal reindeer because of the color of his nose. He was ostracized from the reindeer community. And then he ate a devil fruit, which made him even stranger to them. Just kind of goes into about how the people don't accept him because he's different from them too. So he's just kind of like this thing in between a reindeer and a human that is accepted by neither of his peoples. Very sad. You see him make his first friend with Dr. Hiralek, who basically becomes like a father figure to him. You see like the heartbreaking tale of learning that this mushroom, this like magic mushroom that Chopper like risked his life to find in hopes of saving the doctor. Dr. Hiralek actually basically just ended his life. I mean, he didn't have much time left anyways. But Dr. Hiralek like knew what he was taking, and that if he ate this mushroom Chopper brought him, he'd have like an hour left to live. And he ate it anyways. He just wanted like Chopper to be proud of himself and know that he could do it. I don't think he ever thought that Chopper would know what happened to him, which is why he like rushed to the chamber of the king, King Wapol, and kind of brought himself in front of the other doctors. And then you see Hiralek's demise and how Chopper came into the care of Dr. Karina. You learn more about Wapol, his past with Alabasta, his past with Vivi. He's not a fan of her, he's not a fan of her dad. I gotta say, they made Wapol look so cool. Like in the anime, in the manga, he looks like a joke. But in the live action, he looks badass. He looks like he is going to be like in charge of the room when he's there. Like, they gave him this armor, his devil fruit ability, just everything about the guy is just cool. I wasn't expecting that at all. Anyways, shortly after hearing the story about Chopper, Nami and Sanji and Luffy are all feeling better. Then Wapol and his men show back up. He has his men attack the village, and Wapol finds a secret entrance to get into the castle on top of Drum Island where Dr. Karina and Chopper are currently residing. And he goes up there to fight Luffy. The fight with Luffy is actually pretty short, which I was kind of sad about. Because I know in the anime at least, like, it was a lot longer. Again, though, that's probably just down to the anime pacing, like, you just have them kind of like running around a room for quite a while, so I don't really know how else they could have adapted it too differently. But yeah, Luffy ends up beating him, and they basically save the Drum Kingdom and get Chopper to join the crew. Like in this too, just like how in the anime, Chopper thinks of himself as a monster. I like that the crew are all like, hey, we're monsters too, you'll fit right on in. It was just great to see Chopper happy. They made him so adorable, it was great. And I was happy to see that they adapted everything so well. It was nice to see too, as they're sailing away, Dr. Karina and I think it's Dalton set off that cannon, releasing into the air those cherry blossoms, and I think that that was just a beautiful way to just kind of bring the thing to an end. I do want to say before I go, there was a lot of like Nico Robin just kind of like sprinkled throughout this too. She was great. Something I just noticed about like every cast member is they got like the most attractive people they could find. Like you see Vivi and you're like, wow. You see Nico Robin and you're like, wow. Even you see Dr. Karina and you're like, wow. I think this lady's like 70 years old, but wow. I mean, the same is said for like the men in the cast too. Like you see Smoker and you're like, nice. When you see Luffy and Sanji being treated, they've got like their bandages on, but their shirts are off, and you're like, I didn't know they were so jacked in this. That's pretty cool. Good for them. You see Crocus, and you're like, damn. All things considered, I think that this season was a big improvement from Season 1. I really enjoyed Season 1 too, but I think that this was just an improvement in every way. I am looking forward to Season 3. I am wondering how far on they're going to go. I know that they can't do like the whole thing. I mean, if they did, it'd be pretty surprising. But they are also doing a very good job at condensing these like hundreds of episodes into just like a couple like hour-long episodes at a time. So, I mean, it is possible. They probably have to cut quite a lot out, but I mean, as long as they're making it, I'll be watching it, and I hope a lot of other people are too. Let me know your thoughts on the new season down below. Let me know if you're excited for the 3rd season. I'm pretty excited for that, and I am very excited for the anime coming back. I think it's maybe sometime in April. I'm excited for Elbaf. This has been Baroque Unmasked. Thanks for watching.